And we're live. All right, welcome to my stream. So, in these streams, my goal is to share what I do when I'm practicing. And I'm somebody who has had 20 plus years of experience drumming, mainly with rudimental side of things. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I'll work on today with some Flam variations on grid. And I'm going to warm up with triplet diddle just for funsies. And then I'm going to switch over to drumkit, which is over that way. And I'll show you how I'm working on some independence patterns. So drumkit is not something that I played a bunch of, but I have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm going to show you what I do when I'm practicing that. So that's the goal for the day. So we're going to start off with some exercises. In particular, we're going to go hihat. So I'm going to go up to the drumming content on my website to chops and technique. And you can actually find this here. All right, so if you're watching this live on Twitch, it's in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, it is in the description. So it is on the rudimental page. So the exercise that I'm going to warm up with is triplet diddle. So I'm going to go down to the technique section and go to triplet diddle variations. And I'm going to do 4 count variation. The standard version is like the 2 count, but I'm going to do 4. And let me pause that. So let's switch this to 1080, make it full screen. And I'm going to start off warming up at 160. I was actually just looking to make sure my EAD was not on. Okay. You'll hear that later. Here we go. Down a little bit. It's a little loud. Okay, so now I'm gonna keep speeding this up, and I'll get to 190, and then I'm going to stretch, and then I'll go from 190 to 200. All right, so let's go. Well, let's do 10 clicks. Why not? So my mouse over there. All right, so I haven't played today, so there'll probably be some mistakes. Man down. I lost the stick. Okay, I'll get that later. Let's go to 180. Boop. No, not with the butt end. Cool. Let's do 190 now. So scrolling down, and I'm gonna do 190 all the way up to 194, and then I'll massage, and then I'll go from 195 up to 200. And that should be a good warm-up. like how it changes the pitch. All right, last rep for now. All right, let's do this swap. Okay, so that's a great warm-up, just able to push my hands to get the blood flowing and whatnot. My right arm is a little tired because I didn't drum with it yesterday. If you watched yesterday's video, I was demonstrating what you could do if you like injure your arm, because I had a little minor surgery here. So I was like, oh, this reminds me of when I actually couldn't play previously, even though I can, despite the stitches. Okay, so I'm going to stretch now. I definitely need it. So first thing I'm going to do is a stretch, which hold your sticks in your hand like this, and then you move it in and down, and you make it blurry on your camera, and then you follow with the other hand. Perfect. Ooh, that's a good stretch today. See, there are a couple viewers. Let me know if you have any questions about drumming and whatnot. I am here to help answer them. Okay, let's go back to this view. If I was working on traditional today, I would do some rotation for the left hand, but I'm not, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, now what I want to do is stretch the underside of my forearm, so I'm going to stretch the tendons. So I'm not doing any kind of jerking motion like this. I'm just doing a static hold. And then I go to the other side. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. And then I stretch the top part of the forearm by pulling down and back. You can also do this like this on the drum pad, or on the floor, or on the wall, or on your sibling. Don't do that one. Okay, after I've done that, I then like to stretch the fingers individually. And you'll see on all these streams, I do this every single time. Every time when I'm practicing, I'm going through and doing this. The reason why is because I got some hand injuries, some arm injuries in the past, and I don't want to have that happen again, because then that means less drumming. And I already did too much of less drumming when I was in school. Not during my undergrad. There was a bunch of drumming for that, but for the degrees after that, wasn't as much drumming. It's all about research. Okay. Now that I've stretched, now I'm going to massage. So I'm going to massage my forearms. Just kind of get in the top. I'll go through and massage with my thumb like this. My left arm got the workout yesterday. We'll see how the right arm does today with the stitches in it. Okay, top part feels all right. Trying to avoid the stitches. I don't want to mess them up. Okay. Cool. Now I'm going to massage the hand. So, closer view. So I'm massaging the palm with the thumb, and then with the back side, I'm massaging with my fingers. Just kind of getting in there. Now massaging the base of the thumb. Cool. And then I'm going to go through and massage from the base to the tip of my fingers. Usually about 2 times, maybe 3 times for the middle finger. Apparently I used it a lot yesterday. Okay. And other hand. Actually, this hand's doing all right. All right, base to the tip. Learn these techniques from hand specialists. Like when you injure your hand and whatnot, you go to these people and they will help rehab your hand, basically. Also learned some of the techniques from massage therapists who would just do stuff and I'd be like, hey, can you show me how you did that? Or why would you do that? Etc. Okay. Cool. So now that I got my hands going and I got them stretched and massaged and whatnot, what I'm going to do is go back to here and I'm going to play the last few versions of triplet diddle 4 counts. So from 195 to 200. Trying to stay relaxed while doing this. Okay, 3 more times. Bad attack. All right, last rep. Left out a diddle. Whoops. Okay. That was a good warm-up. So now what I want to do is actually do some flams. That's what I set out to do. Okay, so I'm going to do flam variations of triple grid. And I'm going to do flam on 1. If there was one exercise that I would pick for trying to assess somebody's technique very quickly, I'd do flam on 1, and I'd have them play it at 40. So let's do that. My foot popping. I guess I should say feet. Okay, here we go. At 40, flam on 1. Triplet grid. Okay. Now, the reason why I picked this particular variation for assessing somebody's techniques, because I want to see, are they raising up the grace notes when they're playing this? Are they forcing in the accents? A little late. It's a great way to really check somebody's technique while they're playing, because there's a tendency to really overly play everything and overemphasize. So I want to be able to see, okay, well, how relaxed is somebody playing? And this is one way to do that. Honestly, playing anything slow is a great way to assess technique. But this is one of those ones where it's like deceptively difficult. It seems like, oh, well, you're just playing at 40. Like, Jared, you're speaking while playing this, having a full-on conversation, but it's difficult. Okay, so my accents are a little forced in there, so this time, while playing through it, I'm going to focus on staying nice and relaxed and light. Just pulling back the stick. So I'm really just focusing on listening to the consistency in the sound. Left out a Flam there, little grace note. Yeah, so I'm focusing specifically on, do all my taps sound the same? Do all my accents have the same amount of weight, etc.? So that's what I'm listening for right now. Relaxing my accents more. Just pulling them back. Okay, I'm gonna do one more rep of this, and then I'm gonna actually start speeding it up. Just really focusing on sound quality while I'm doing this. Just going for consistency. And relaxed technique. All right, whoops. Hit the back button on the mouse, not what I meant to do. And full screen, and scroll, and show more. And let's go to, I want to show you a few different variations today, so I'm not going to just go by like 5 clicks at a time and like doing, or even 10 clicks and doing 5 at a time. So I'm just going to do 1 at each BPM until I find a breaking point where my technique is like, ugh. And then I'm going to show you some things that you can use to specifically address whatever the issue is with it. Let me power something up real quick. Okay, so I am moving something on my other screen. Put that there. So yesterday I was like, oh, I really need to like make a plan for what I'm doing. And so I've got that on my other screen. There is a plan today. Still figuring out this whole streaming thing. It's amazing how just a few clicks can feel so different. Cool, let's jump up. 10 clicks. Scroll and 60. So far I haven't had flat flams, which is where they make that popping sound. Ah, early. What's interesting is like how when I first started streaming, a couple months ago, I would get so nervous when I would make a mistake. That's after years of playing on the drumline where it's like, not allowed to make a mistake. But, I mean, when you're practicing, you're gonna make mistakes, assuming you're practicing stuff you're not good at. Which is what I'm doing on the stream. So now I'm just sharing my mistakes publicly. And so it took, like, I don't know, maybe a month or two before it actually started to feel like, okay, I don't have to have a panic attack every time I make a mistake in front of people. Progress. There's a tendency on the third measure to have the grace notes high, and a tendency on those, the second measure, this upbeat, to really emphasize the accents too much. Like that. So I'm really focusing on those while I'm playing through this. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see if we can find a spot where it sounds 80. Cool. Keep going faster. 90. Do 100. So I'm checking in with my grace notes. Make sure they're not raising up the taps, raising up the graces. Are slow and late. What speed was that? I forgot already. 101. Oh, 100. Okay. 110. Hey. Add a little extra. I don't need that menu up. So at this speed is where it can start to get like too tight on my end, like overly force end things. So hopefully what I was practicing when I was doing it slow is going to translate over into playing it fast, staying nice and relaxed. So far, so good. Still trying to find the breaking point where either the technique or the sound quality or the heights or something just like starts to get wonky. And with the technique, I mean like too tight. I'm gonna actually do that again. My accents were a little inconsistent on the heights here. A little bit better. Okay, let's try 140. Right arm is a little tight. Brain fart. Let me do that again. Make sure it was a brain fart. I'm looking for consistent airs. That'll tell me what to work on. Don't need to work through every brain fart. It's a waste of time. There are a lot of drumline instructors in particular who will like, oh, I heard dirt right there. And then they'll like stop and they'll break that thing down. But like, for all you know, the person was just thinking about how they're hungry. And like, then they're like, oh, I missed those rolls. And then that screwed it up. What you want to do is like rep something a couple of times to go, oh, there's a consistent air. Now we need to actually address that, as opposed to, oh, there's a dirt in the playing. Like, yeah, dirt happens. So find the consistent airs. Spend your time on that. Pro tip. 150. Okay, not too shabby. Still waiting for the breaking point. Woo! No, apparently there's a breaking point. Keep hitting the thumb button when I pick it up. Pick up my mouse, that is. Ew. Okay, technique and heights are a little off now. One more time the speed. Then I'll push past the breaking point. Ah! That was from talking. There. Woo. Okay. Now pushing past that breaking point and trying to speed up my brain and my hands so that way, hopefully, the next time I play it, it's like a little bit faster because I'm training myself to think faster and play faster. I'm going to lower my heights. Okay, do it again. Woo! That's quick. Let's go even further. So I really want to just like completely fall apart here. And I'll tell you why afterwards. Click. Ew, crush those rights. Okay. So I completely fell apart there. That was the goal. So what I'm going to do now is it was in measures 2 and 3, where in particular where it started to fall apart. So there are 2 grid variations that actually are perfect for working on those. And all I have to do is go back. And so the 2 that are great are Flam before an accent and Flam after an accent. So I'm going to specifically work on those just to kind of demonstrate, oh, well, here's how you can work on them if that's where you're messing up on it. So I'll just go in order here. So Flam before an accent. We'll start here. And we'll start slow. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Sludge. It tastes gross, but it's healthy. Okay. Here we go. I'm looking at the time. Okay, so if I spend about 12 minutes on each, yeah, and then I can do a chop out, and then I'm gonna work on some kit. All right, so Flam before an accent. This is a fun one to work on. I'm gonna start at 40. This specifically works on measure 2. Because every single one of them is basically measure 2 variations. And you can do this with any rudiment, like a cheese. And there are actually those play-alongs on my website. Okay. Let's jump. Yeah, we'll go 10 at a time. So every single one are measure 2 variations. So this is a great one to work on if measure 2 is the difficulty on Flam on 1. Stock grid. Cool. So as you work on this, you're able to do, like, if you start slow and slowly work your way through it, you'll find the, like, gray zones where it's like, this technique doesn't sound great. Ew. And that gray zone isn't always, like, when it's fast. It's usually, like, in between whatever your slow technique is and your fast technique is. If you haven't practiced and merged those two together. Oops. Adding an extra flam. Making it harder for myself. Getting ready for my chop out later. Oops. Singing on the wrong part. Cool. Alright, pretty good. I'm gonna jump up 20 clicks. Go to 80. If this wasn't sounding good, then I'd spend more time slower. But because it sounds fine, speed it up. Okay. Missed one accent. That's alright. Not worth crying over. 100. That was all weird. Like, I started to play Flam on 1. Okay, so it was just a simple mistake. A little brain fart. All right, let's go up by 10. So 110. Hooray! Hooray! And I need some more sludge. Today's sponsor. That one had a potato chunk. Probably like potatoes. What? Yeah, potato. Okay. To be honest, I'm kind of getting bored with this one. So I'm just going to move on. Sometimes whatever you have planned for your drumming session, you just like might need to change midway through and go, what I thought I wanted to work on or what I needed to work on turns out is different in actuality. So let's go on to Flam after an accent. This is basically measure 3 of Flam on 1. Just over and over. Whoops. In this one, there's a tendency to have the flam too high. really focusing on the grace note, the distance between the grace and the primary. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so we have this note, and then the grace note hits right before the primary note. So you could have it very open. You could have it flat, where they hit at the same time, and it makes like a popping sound. Or you could have cha sound, which is what you're going for. So I'm specifically listening for, okay, well, how does it sound when I'm doing this? And so one way you can actually practice this is, okay, I'm going to intentionally do like, I don't know, 8 of them open, 8 of them normal, 8 of them flat, and then 8 of them normal. So open, normal, flat, normal, and just sit there and work that for each hand. Something like that. So that's one thing that you could work on if you're trying to get more consistent with your flams, with whatever technique you're using, or bonk, bonk, bonk. Although I guess with bass drum, that's more open, because otherwise you'll have a flat flam every time, just because of the way the bass drum is, because you're pushing the air and then it pushes it back on the other side. But anyways, physics. Cool. Let's speed this one up. And show more. 20 clicks. My left flam has a tendency to be higher than right, so I'm focusing on that. Cool, not bad. Let's go to 80, 80, 80, 80. Cheesy poof didn't sound good. Cool. 100. Those are cheesy poofs. 3/2. Realize I didn't say that. Gets its name from the exercise cheesy poof. Which is a South Park reference. Let's try with 20. Why not? This one's a little bit easier. Slow down. So this one's a lot easier to do than the other one. Okay, so realize I haven't had my screen up. Oops. Should probably look at the monitor more. Okay. It's been 46 minutes. I want to do the chop out. And the one that I'm going to do is alternating flams. Now, this one is whoo-wee. It is quite the chop out. So, I don't know. I'm going to start at 100. And honestly, I don't know how that's going to go. So, every single note is flammed. Just non-stop. Flam, 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 flam. Flam, 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 flam. And I'll try it with malfs, backward flams. Getting some flat flams. So they're doing that rather than this. Yeah, so the hard part about alternating flams is the fact that we've got technically grace and primary notes just at tap height. So we don't want double stop. We want to have right hand, left hand flams. And so there's a tendency when doing this one to just make everything like all the same height, or just like, oh. So it's hard to get those accents in there. While getting alternating flams and not double stops. So yeah, I just repeated myself. Cool. All right, let's try speeding this up. Let's chop out with it. So I'm intentionally trying to find where it just sounds bleh. And again, it informs how I can work on my technique for the next rep. And it just gets me to think faster, play faster, etc. Here we go. Slower than I thought. Really focusing on those taps. Ah. Let's try 120. 120. I was like, oh, have I bumped into this? Did I mess up the drawing? No. I didn't. Yay! All right, let's try 130. Here we go. By the way, so earlier I was playing cheezy poofs. I came up with a variation where you put a sextuplet based diddle on the second accent, so it goes da digga da da. So it's a fun one. Ooh. And we called it ums. So I was asking a student one day, hey, what should we call this one? And they're like, I was like, cool, it's ums. So you can do it with like etc. So, fun thing to try if you want. Anyways, random tangent. Let's try this. 130. definitely getting the blood flowing. Not easy to be cheesy. Or I guess Flammy in this case. He's quoting a movie. Well, actually, I was quoting a coworker who was quoting a movie, so maybe it's not the right quote, but I think it was from The Longest Yard. And the coworker was from when I worked at Blockbuster, you know, back when that was a thing. Put that on my CV. Manager at Blockbuster. Woo! All right, well, that's definitely a breaking point. Probably would have been 145 for the breaking point, but 150. Woo-wee. Okay, cool. So I came what I set out to do. I wanted to work on my flams with some different grid variations, and then I wanted to chop out with that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the kit. All right. So now that I have got everything set up, I'm going to go back to my website, and I'm going to go to the drumkit independence. So this brings you to a separate page that has a bunch more stuff. Excuse me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start off with some samba work. So I'm going to pick up with what I was doing yesterday in terms of playing that with my feet, except now I'm going to actually add in the right hand and play all the charts with the left hand. Okay, so that's the plan. See that better? There we go. Okay, cool. So, let us do all straight charts. And I'm gonna do 1 through 5 at 160. And let me mute my microphone and let's do this. I might as well explain what happened there. So I looked over and saw the camera and saw that it was like not positioned on the drums as what I actually want. And it's positioned too high. So I was like, ooh, I got to fix that. And the microphone's too low. And then because I was thinking all of that, it messed me up. So that's what happened there. All right, cool. Yeah, that's what I want in terms of how it looks. Okay, let's go back a little bit. And let's try chart 2 again. Also, I was adjusting the pedal. It was in the way of my foot for the hi-hat. And that was just me messing up. No excuse for that one. So that's why I'm working on this. Yes, and my foot is a little slow today. That was kind of in that gray area where it was like the foot technique was, do I do this? Like, show you this. Do I do heel, toe, like that? Or do I just stroke it, keeping the heel down? Like that. So that's what my issue was. It wasn't quite like that. Okay. Let's go back to here. Give you a close-up of today's sponsor, Sludge. Okay. That was okay. Not it was better than yesterday, but not like, yeah, great. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm actually going to do bossa nova. So basically the same thing, but slower. So in terms of like, for the right hand, I'm just going to keep straight eighths this time. So like, why not? Like, but what I'm going to do with the hand, instead of just reading everything on the snare drum, like I was demonstrating yesterday, I'm going to do short notes, and then I'll do long notes over here. Name that song. Anyways, let's slow this down. Let's do 100 Make it so you can see the charts. Oh, don't want the mouse on the snare. By the way, there's a weird, like, issue with the E8010 and the triggers in that it, like, on the floor tom in particular, it's just so, I don't know, random with how loud it is. Like, I'll play, like, 5 notes in a row at the exact same height, same touch, same everything, and it's, like, really quiet, and then all of a sudden one of them is like, boom, and it'll just be super loud. I don't get it. I'm going to try loosening it. And putting it on again. Okay, we'll see if that's any better. Resuming. right. Cool. So that's one way that you can work on the bossa nova while doing this. And obviously I was improvising on that first line, so you can do that, or you can just use it to play time, whatever you want. So I'm actually going to switch over to some swung patterns. So I'm going to go back to the website, which, by the way, I should put it in the chat. There. Okay, so I'm going to all swung drum charts. And I'm pulling out a book, and this book is called 50 Ways of Syncopation. And I should probably show you where you can get that. So on my website, if you just go to like the drumming content, the gear I use, this shows you like everything I use for my setup. Like, well, what sticks am I using? What practice pad, etc. If you go to books, this shows you where you can actually go get this book. So this is from Dom Moyle, 50 Ways of Syncopation. And here are some other books I've demonstrated in other prior streams. But anyways, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually work on playing the pattern. So I'm going to do hi-hat on 2/4. And then I'm going to play the accents on snare drum and fill in with triplet taps. So I'm alternating. So this would be chord notes. And of course the EAD is not picking up all those sounds. Cool. Wow. Sounds great. Playing with mesh heads, so it doesn't sound perfect. Okay. Hopefully, if you at least can't hear it through the EAD, maybe the microphone will pick up the snare sounds now. Okay, so I'm going to play through the charts. And I think 160 should be good. Let's see what I previously played this at. Really? 135? Okay, let's start at 135 then. That feels like it's going to be slow. Anyways, we'll find out. 135. So 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. Alternating triplets on snare. Cool, thank you for letting me know. Grace, my wife. Slowly starting to get into the groove here, but this is still just feels a little weird. I haven't played this one in, I don't know, like a year or so maybe even longer than that. Here we go. Yeah, so lots of little like brain farts there. Where it was like, oh, am I supposed to play this on the right or on the left? And then I screwed it up. So whoops. Okay, so I'm actually gonna do the same idea again, but I'm going to slow it down and specifically make it harder, to be honest. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play short notes on the snare and the long notes either on the ride or the crash, while I also add in the bass drum on those. Like that, okay? So that's the plan, at least. We'll see how it goes. So let's scroll down. Let's go to 110. Try it there. This is why I slow it down. This is like messing with my brain right now. I haven't done this one in a long time. So let's work it up. Relax technique. Let's go back. too relaxed. Let's see if I can jump in. There's a reason why I'm working on that. As you can probably tell, doesn't sound great, but it started to feel more comfortable towards the end, so that's great. Progress. Slowly. Now the next variation of this is you actually diddle all the taps. So, like this. And you can't really hear it that good with E80, all the diddles, but you basically, etc. All doing it. Okay, but I'm not there yet. I don't know how this is going to sound with the later charts. I think 6 through 10 might be okay. I think when it gets into charts 11 and beyond, it's going to be a little difficult because there's some tenuto markings that actually indicate some extra bass notes, basically. So, yeah. Let's try this at 110, which is where I was previously. And we'll just try it with this next set of charts, and we'll see how this goes. If it doesn't sound great, I'll slow it down. That was hard. Kept messing me up, trying to figure out which hand I was supposed to play the long notes on in particular. have to sneeze so bad. All right. Apparently, I don't have to sneeze. I just feel like I do. I am going to slow this one down because this one is weird. There's a weird audio effect that I'm hearing on my end. I don't know if you hear it, but it sounds like a phaser attached to it. But anyways, I think I was on the third to last line. Yeah, so it's interesting that pretty much all of those are on the crash. So basically on the left hand for the accents with the bass drum. All right, let's try this actually at tempo. See how this goes. All right, so significantly better than when I first attempted it, so that's great. Hit my sticks at the end, and that kind of messed me up. But cool. Okay, so I'm going to attempt the next set of charts, but honestly, I don't know how it's going to go. I'm going to do it at 100, though. Go down 10 clicks. Because this is going to be weird. You can probably tell why now. All right, I gotta try those last two lines again because that was. Ugh. Slows down. Woo-wee. All right, so still something to work on. So maybe I'll work on this one next week some more. No, not on Saturday because I'm working that day. Conference day. So on Sunday. Cool. So I'm going to attempt the next chart. Chart 12. Wow, those last two lines are interesting. So let's break them down. So I'm just repeating the measure right here. This one. Trying to get more comfortable with it. Ooh, that last measure. All right. That's weird. Cool. All right. I'm gonna continue on. We'll attempt chart 13. We'll see how that one goes. Yeah, these are so weird. So what you're watching me do is struggle with something that a pattern I haven't played in like over a year, and then I'm reading it on charts that I've never done before, and these are much more complicated than the charts that are in the 50 Ways of Syncopation because of all these tenuto markings. So this is weird. I'm like having a brain aneurysm trying to figure this out right now. I'm just like, what do I play? So let me break this down some more. And you'll notice that I'm just doing the hands and the right foot. I'm not doing 2 and 4 right now. So I'm just trying to figure out, well, what's the coordination-wise, what's going on. Because honestly, the hi-hat foot is pretty much on autopilot for me when I'm playing at decent tempo range. So just focusing on the coordination up here. All right, let's try that last 2 lines again, or 2 measures on this 3rd line. That's weird. All right. Next chart. We'll see how this one goes. Looking at that last line, oh, not gonna go well. We're gonna have to slow this one down again. All right. Not good, but now I'm just completely having myself on the second to last line. So let's start there. Well, I know what I'm going to be working on in my short practice sessions that I do when I finish working each day. All right, now I'm going to attempt chart 14, or no, 15. All right, so the rudimental stuff was fine, all the flams and whatnot. The drum kit, as you can tell, was hairy, ironically. So something to work on. So what I tend to do lately, after I just completely had myself on some independent stuff, what was it, 3 weeks ago, something like that? I was just like, I need to play kit more consistently. So when I finish work for the day, what I have been doing is like, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes just working on one thing and just isolating that out and practicing that. So what I'm going to do during that time this week is work on this. And then hopefully next week when I come back on Sunday and stream drumming again, then you'll actually hear an improvement on this. And the reason why I don't share those streams is because like it takes more time for me to set up this than I actually spend on it. It takes about 20 minutes to set up everything and completely rearranged to get ready for these streams, as compared to when I'm practicing, I've only got like 10-15 minutes on this. So that's why I don't stream those. Maybe if I do this like full-time for a week at some point, I'll just keep this set up, or figure out a way to make it so that my room is set up differently where it's really easy for me to just, boom, turn it on and ready to go. But anyways, if you stop by, thank you. I hope you're all having a good rest of your weekend. I should be on later on tonight, most likely streaming some Stardew with my wife, Gaming with Grace. You just check her out. But anyways, I hope you'll have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you later.